I am here, so I'm back. Well, hello, dear people. Well, there is a lot to manage, so I had everything ready, but I will tell you in a bit. Then, in the last minutes, I am still in a hurry. So, with my experience and when I'm each time practicing, I will get better. So, but yeah, it is the way it is. That's life. That's life in a life. Hello everyone. Mike is on. Okay. So this must be better. You see, this is what I mean. Oh. Hello everyone. I thought I'd start to sing myself out of this a bit disturbance in the in the start of this live stream. Welcome everyone. Now it's okay. Thanks so much, Yvonne. Yes, you can hear me now very well. Okay, well I have it now on the max volume, so it should work now. Hi everyone on Trovo as well, and yeah, what happens is all the time, that is why I was delayed. I have Outlook suddenly on my Windows 11. It's maybe a boring story, but it is why I was delayed. And every time I get a notification and I am logged in, and every time, so there is an error. And that started 10 minutes before I went live. So these are things which happen in life. And I see that the chat is working. That is great news. Yeah, it's working. Oh, that makes me so happy. So then I can add Trovo, and I should be live on Rumble as well. So if someone can check if I am live on Rumble, because I never get to see that, even if I refresh. But I should be live on Rumble as well. So I need to do one thing. Okay. And hello, Barry Henderson as well on Trovo. Welcome to hopped in the space. of Trovo, and I have here the chat of Trovo. So Prism is running. Makes me so happy. Then you can all see the on-screen chat and also Trovo. And maybe I will put on later as well the chat of Rumble, but it is every time a bit, yeah, maybe not so handy that I have to the top. Wait, 300. Okay, that should be all right now. Live at Rumble 2. Hello, Barry, as well on Twitch. Multitasking. Welcome. So, alright, now everything should run, and maybe I will do the Rumble chat as well, adding, but yeah, then I'm only adding with chats, and that's too, I think that's also not handy. So, I hope it's all visible to you, both chats, and so, now I can let go of all these, streaming managing things. Well, that happens, of course. So again, for everyone who just joined me, I am doing my English spoken live, and for Dutch spoken, that's always each Saturday. And then I have very great news. As you know, Dana Durnford has already been a guest here in my live stream to talk about specifically nuclear energy, but the dangers of nuclear energy, his way of, he studied for so many years, for at least decennia, that he was doing research about nuclear energy, and he is going to be a guest for the third part, and that will be on July 1st. From tomorrow, I will put a link also on my bio.link, where you can get a timer countdown, and I'm looking very much forward to it, and he as well. So yeah, it's of course great, and the subject will be Fukushima and the fallout. Why he believes, with all his research, it's his thoughts. He also uses presentations, so with pictures and photos and so on. And he then shows and explains why the fallout is an extinction event for the whole world, a threat to humanity and to dear Earth. And it's very interesting, and I'm very honored that he will be here. I will try for the 1st of July, that is on a Saturday evening, and that's normally my Dutch live stream, I know, but I will try for, with Dana, that I can start later on in this evening, and then maybe I will do a pre-run, maybe an hour on forehand, I don't know, but I will try to make it a bit later that Saturday, but I'm not sure if I will succeed, but that's great news, huh? So, I got it confirmed this morning, so yeah, it makes me very happy, these interesting and very special guests who are being withheld from talking, and that is suspicious to me, and everyone should have the opinion, the right to express what he or she, for sure with all the research done, to make the voice in the world. I say it in the wrong way, but so for tonight, well, I had planned for tonight to show you drawings, again going through the drawings, and then more as a kind of slideshow, and then finding out how it will go by, it's also kind of recap of the pictures I showed, the journey of healing. But I decided to do it the other way, because I had to do, with my dear friend here, had to do a session. So a session, I mean, I have another part in me who has come forward, actually 2 parts. So to make a summary of überhaupt last week, if anyone still can follow me, because for everyone also from abroad and on Rumble who maybe know me or just now, or maybe for a few live streams, I am specifically always talking in the first part of the live streams about my deprogramming, because I am Yeah, I want to be real. I am real, and because I was, of course, a split up personality in the tens of thousands and in the hundreds of thousands of split personalities. So I can only be real because I came from only split up. So I'm so driven to stay as real as possible because yeah, everyone in life has certain aspects, of course, which we cannot share, don't share, and that's human. But you know what I mean. So I share always the deprogramming, and I had to decide that I should leave out the drawings maybe in the well I'm planning on or maybe tonight after midnight or tomorrow after midnight, so from 12 o'clock to go live. So I will go live this week as well from 12 midnight, but I'm not sure if that will be tonight or tomorrow night. So that depends on the person who is working, and I have to 10:30 quit, as you know. So I leave that open. But to come back to my drawings, I leave that out, and I will talk about my deprogramming because I had next to the 212 little personalities I am now dealing with to integrate, and that's pretty whole, yeah, that's really steady, steadfast inner work. And these 212 all carried traumas with very extreme tortures of animals, specifically with cats and so on. And I did mention last Saturday graphic detail about that. Maybe I will do that a bit later in this live stream. So I warn on forehand for everyone, I will now and then just mention a graphic detail because this is mind control, this is MKultra, this is the basics of how programmed world is creating, was creating in my case, MKultras and full mind control and monarch programming. That can only be done with tortures and with traumas by sexual abuse. Well, these 212 were for me a pretty, surprising, not really, because I am now digging up literally my inner personality part of the military. And as you all know, I am now fully into that I believe, I truly believe and feel that I am now digging up the remains of my whole military percentage, which was still in the invisible put in me. So of course I was prepared for surprises in possible even booby traps or even programming, like specifically eating disorders. What I do know is that, for example, every mind control layer has been connected to as well self-harm layers. Well, maybe I did not talk about that too much in live streams because I don't know how to talk about that. I feel ashamed of how my self-harm layers will build in, and I already am very open about how I was sexually abused and raped all the time and tortured in the most horrific ways. And then to talk about as well about these self-harm layers, yeah, that is, for me, that crosses a border, like, for me, too personal. So maybe it is, maybe I will talk about it, or maybe in a more private, maybe Jitsi, I'm still finding out, or on the Telegram group. I have a Telegram group, by the way, and a Telegram channel, and that is specifically, I specifically put that up for example, when Facebook has become too impossible, or when I want to have a private conversation with you all. And I will try out a new idea that when I go live, so that can be as well in the Dutch live, as well in the English spoken live, that I then will share a drawing which I don't dare to show in the live stream itself. And then the people can watch it there on Telegram, and then it feels more private, and it's most of the times these drawings are very graphic, so that then also helps that it will be not too graphic. And Jada is indeed on Trovo. Yeah, welcome. I hope I pronounce it well. Hello, Jada 97, welcome. So to come back to these 212, well, 212 is 212, and 2 and 1 is 3, and this 1 has been kept into the 2, so a 2 before the 1 and a 2 behind the 1, the 212. And my programming was built on coding, so numerology as well as with the astrology, and then the astrology, which is the 100% astrology. So that includes everything what is, in my opinion, also the accurate way to do astrology. And there is a tiny percentage which people on Earth are not connected to. And this is why astrology does work out well for the good astrology people who make these astrology signs and so on and predictions. But there is a tiny percentage which is not accurate. And yeah, that is with me. I was built on astrology sign. This is why I was born in the night. Yeah, a bit right before the midnight. I never shared that, but it was at what I saw on my real birth certificate, which I was told it was my real birth certificate. I truly believe it was my birth certificate. Now I say that birth certificate 3 times, now 4 times, and that it was 23:58. So 2 minutes before 12. Well, there we have the 2 and before midnight. Well, in the Netherlands, we have that expression. It's now 2 to 12. So it is almost 12 o'clock, which means it's almost too late. Maybe there is an expression in the USA or abroad as well, or in your own country. Welcome, by the way, for everyone. I know for some countries it's even very early. Yeah, early in the afternoon even, or a bit later in the afternoon. So welcome everyone. And yeah, it is. I try to organize that I will do English live streams later in the evening, and that I don't have to go live on midnight. But that is, yeah, qua organization here in the house and the living room. I have my little studio corner. It's for now yet not possible. I hope that it is, yeah, soon to come. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, and also to greet you all from abroad, of course, and not only the USA, also Great Britain and the world, Africa, uh, the Dutch Antilles, Curacao, you know, Germany, France, East Europe. It's for me. I love all cultures when it's a righteous way. But the people themselves, yeah, I love all these cultures. But the people who know me, they know that. So I don't have to repeat myself. So these 212, which had the most horrific traumas with especially also food. And yeah, I'm not sure if I should mention that, but I tried out last Saturday when there was a graphic warning that I will count from 4 to 1, and then I will mention this trauma. And was only one of the 212 who carried that trauma. So here it goes. So graphic warning. So then you can mute the audio if you like to, if you don't want to hear it. So 4, 3, 2, 1. For example, it was like I was bonded to animals, like specifically cats, also puppies, little dogs. And that then one of these 212 was then spoiled by having been given a puppy. And I still remember that it had a nice ribbon and I got toys to play with. And then suddenly the next day or a few hours later, the puppy or the kitten which was given to me, then it was in front of my eyes being tortured. And a lot of that happened. And that is one of the most horrific things for me still to watch. That is that the cats were burnt and or cooked alive. And then it was presented on a plate with rice, for example. And that's the graphic detail. Why do I choose to often a while talk about these graphic details? Because I should be capable of talking about it. Because there are leaders in the world who do these practices to not only me, and I am luckily that I from 2010 no longer, I know that for sure that I was no longer used because I was continuously inside the house, almost it's for sure 10 years, and also that I was living here with what is now my dear friend. So I just know, and I have no time loss of that I was out or gone. And then for sure, the dear friend here and the other one who lives here would have noticed that I would be gone. By the way, in the early years when I was deprogramming, then even when I had still contact with a few friends that they knew where I came from, and they even checked. So, for example, a friend would visit me here in the house, and then I was not at home. So she was then freaking out and then phoning my dear friend and so on. So if I would be gone for too long without their knowing, then they would immediately be alerted. So that's actually a great system, that you have at least one loved one who is there for you and all the time. And I know that's difficult. I know that a lot of also deprogramming from traumas and eating disorders, which has a lot of fundament with being abused mentally or sexual abused or physically tortured, abused. It is often the case, and that it's hard to then really let go of your independency. But what I experienced is that the power of saying yes, do that challenge of stay always with someone you trust, because that is very important too, of course. The reason why I never went to any psychiatrist or psychologist is because I don't trust them. And I know that a lot of facilities are connected to it, or for sure certain people who work there. And I'm not talking about the nurses and so on, because they're good people. I know also people, I actually met a lot also in my front life who were a nurse. So I know from close that these people are so pure and so loving to people, and I honor them. Everyone who is, devoting themselves to nursing people and children and so on. So it's not that, but it also protected me from not being captured. And it is a sad truth that this happens. Yeah, and this is why I mentioned graphic details. That's what I wanted to say, because I should have the right to say this has been done to me, because in my opinion it's still continuing. Because I see the world, many world leaders, also leaders of organizations, I see world leaders fighting with each other while they are friends. So, and they still do these practices, and it should stop. Well, say no to evil. That is a t-shirt. I think that will come, this t-shirt. Maybe no, I'm kidding. So, so this 212, to come back to that. So all, actually I did a bit of, it was meant also in a light-hearted way, because I am like that. Like I make also a bit satire about me having been MKultra, and that all foods have been scrambled up in the programming, and that is of course very sad. And today I bumped into that again, actually since yesterday, that I felt better after I am now integrating these 212. Yes, you hear that well, 212 little personalities, and they were at the most 5-6 years old. And each of them had or were connected to a pet and or connected to a torture with food. For example, another torture with food, it is a bit a tiny graphic detail, but that I was told to, for example, swallow a chunk of food, and that I was choking. And a lot has been done around my neck with choking and strangling. This is the reason why I cannot deal with any jewelry around my neck. That has also another reason, which I still cannot talk about it in detail, because that is very private, and yeah, it was done to me to really make me more feel like a slave. They also literally called me your slave. So this is why I say I was a former mind-controlled slave. Um, yeah, because I realized that I was avoiding that word because it's basically not to compare with what African people, which, well, it's not only that they come from Africa, but you know what I knew, the whole slave subject is very vulnerable. But what is a slave? A slave is fully in possession of someone, of the handler, and I was like that. So that's why I call myself a former full mind control slave. And I decided I have the right to say that because I was. So, and that is that whole what they call that woke thing, what is in the world, like uh, like we should be careful in everything what we say, because we could maybe hurt someone else with our words. And yeah, I just really last couple of weeks specifically felt like, no, I'm not going to do that any longer because I am respectful, I am integer towards others and others' opinions and to other people. So I feel I cannot withhold myself any longer. And that feels like a liberation, like an inner victory, by the way. So that feels so nice and very great, of course. So, well, that is the bridge to what I'm now dealing with today. So, since yesterday, I felt again, oh, with the food, there is something again going on. And as I told you, yeah, all food, and that's what I forgot to mention that last Saturday in the Dutch live stream, I did a bit in a light-hearted way, like, well, in the chat, write down all kinds of foods. And then I believe that I can say to all of them that was used in my programming. And what I dealt with in specifically these 212 was a lot what was done with rice and milk as well. And those were the two items, the food items, which were extremely used. But next to that, chocolate. Well, there came all kinds of snacks and nice sweet things came by, like Milky Way, M&M, and so on. Well, I had, of course, my name. I have my name, Monique, so that is perfect, M and M. And the M is chosen not also on purpose to connect to McDonald's, because the M is a really beloved letter in the deep state and and also the people who honor and serve Lucifer and Satan. So all is intertwined and all is connected. Well, since yesterday, I was again so like, oh, here we go again, and I felt already there is something coming to the surface, and that ended up in a kind of climax, which was, of course, it happened again. In a few hours, literally before I wanted to go live, like tonight, and that I did a session with my dear friend here, and then yeah, I'm tired of it while I talk about it, because I feel my reactions, of course, and I did also not have my dinner yet, but yeah, my body needs that quietness as well, so I will eat later on after the live stream. But I'm so fulfilled with digesting what now came to the surface. And next to these 212 little personalities and the military part, now 2 extra personalities I have to guide. And one is a teenager of 16. And she was connected to the Dutch front life and still not surfaced, because that is often hard to explain. Like, I talk a lot that my core has been freed and that it's on top of my head, like in the 7th and 8th chakra above me. And I know I freed my core, my center part. My center, it's actually also the source of my inner child. And it's your inner light, who you are, and it is also the spark of God, which is my belief system, it's my knowing. That it's the God creation as well, which is now alive in me fully. And that caused with rapid speed um, uh, to let surface all these personalities with a speed that is incredible. And I like it because in this way I am of course going very quickly through my integration. Yeah, and at the other hand, it is pretty tough because then other things of life then are in a standstill besides some household chores, and I can then only focus on preparing my live stream and doing inner process. And I'm working on my mandala works again. I will show that again in another live stream or in a picture on my social media. I did not do that as well because I had my hands full on the digesting and letting come to the surface what happened now. So the 16-year-old, well, my... Hello, Into, welcome. Nicole, thanks for warning. Yeah, I hope this works. Let me know if I should count more. And I specifically did not choose 3 because 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1 was put in my programming and is a programming rhythm. But if, I love feedback of you all. So if you like longer counting, then let me know. And also on YouTube, I forgot to YouTube also say hello. And I'm also on live on YouTube too. Monique Wallace too. Yeah, my full English channel. So, if you don't like the Dutch uploads, then and only get notifications when I go English live, then you can go to Monique Wallace 2 with TOO. Very easy to remember. I found it pretty funny with the words, a word game, not the number 2, but like phonetic, like TOO. And it is also me. So I found that for now a nice, and I see I'm live there. So hello everyone there on Monique Wallace too. I don't see anyone in the chat, but thank you so much for joining, for sure. And also on Rumble, which I cannot see the chat. That is, maybe I will check in a bit if I can put the chat also on screen. Nicole, yes, the warning is good for survivors as I cannot hear about the animal stuff. Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I will then stick to that. So, and this was, I believe, well, the most horrific graphic warning. And I will also talk what this 60-year-old carried. And I will also then do a warning. And it's less graphic, but it has got to do with sexual abuse. So I will then also do a warning. So this 60-year-old carried traumas and tortures in her, what she experienced. But first I will explain, and that is no graphic content, not too heavy. And what is too heavy, you know, every mind control, every mind control is evil, I believe, is wrong, is wrongdoing, is hurting someone, is hurting a child. But yeah, that is why I, of course, have my passion to talk about it. And here I get again that notification. That's why you see me sometimes look away, because every few minutes that pop-up comes forward from Outlook, and I did uninstall it. So there is disturbance. So I'm not allowed to do my story. To come back to this 16-year-old. Well, the method I use is that then my dear friend here, and I am very experienced, is what you can call like voice dialogue. It's literally dialogue with an inner voice, with an inner part in yourself. Well, in my case, it is that 16-year-old. And then I sit in opposite of my dear friend, and then I choose to go to that energy who is upset and is in, tries to get me again in the eating disorder. The trigger for her was specifically because I made some tuna salad, homemade, of my own. I liked that one. And I felt immediately reaction, so I let go and I put it in the fridge, and then I felt like now I need to find out what is going on. Why do I respond? My body responded on eating this tuna salad. So again, a food which triggers something. So then I go sit in the part who was reacting like that, and it's like you can see it like an act. When you're on the theater, that's why being an actor or taking a part in a play or a musical doesn't matter, but you really get to learn a part of yourself. Or what I see a lot is that many actors, for example, love to play an evil part. And there's no harm to it, but I feel it goes even further. It can be very healing and liberating to finally play someone else what you're normally in your normal life are. So it is actually simply, the best example. It's like being on stage, but then it's specifically, the purpose is then for the use of getting to know this part in me. And then I found out, and then you literally have to see it, that I then sit like a 16-year-old, bit like this. And yeah, I don't care. And that was all in Dutch, like, I don't care. I don't care about things. I don't care what other things. And really like a teenager, how teenagers are. When a personality like that is sitting in that position, in that energy, I am as ego, as Monique, who was sitting in the center stage, in the center chair, I am never gone. So with my ego, with my consciousness, that is another word. So I am not gone with my personality. So I am not totally dissociating. That is no longer the case since 2010 for sure, because I did not lose any time. So that is a sign. When you lose a lot of time, for example, hours or a day or a night, and you don't know where you were, yeah, that could be an alarming sign of, hey, why is that? Then something could be wrong, and then I would advise then really, and if that happens more often, I would for sure find out together with a loved one, hey, what happens here? Because there is a reason for that you lose time. So it's always good to let that look at, or with a physician. I mean, what feels right, of course. I am not a physician, disclaimer. I'm not doing any advice on as a physician or whatever. It's just my experience that if you lose time and it occurs to you, hey, I lost now a whole hours or a whole day, then something, I would say, investigate it innerly for sure. Well, this 60-year-old was initially then very naive, and she did know me as Monique, like not the front, but I was the front, because I was acting always in the world, and I started this journey to fully deprogram. So that is why the biggest part of my front is in me, and I was also called Monique in the front life. So let me know if it's still not really clear what I try to explain. So and then the 60-year-old finally, with the experience of my dear friend who knows how to talk with victims. And I could feel, because I was as ego with my consciousness, I was also, of course, observing myself, sitting there as that 16-year-old. And then she was really annoyed even by that my body was older. And I have become in all the, going through the eating disorder layers and withholding fluid, because when I have dealt with an eating disorder layer or a trigger like with these 212, then my body is expanding. So then I feel bloated, and that is also now. You don't see that now. I'm sitting, of course, midway with mid-half in the screen, but I feel very bloated. So she felt that too, the 60-year-old. Thank you so much, Yvonne, for the feedback that you can follow it. It was for her very annoying to feel a body, and often when I meet for the first time personalities in all kinds of ages, it's like an age then stops, and that's the meaning of mind control. Actually, the programmers rather have not that personalities grow up, that they become a grown-up. That's very important details about mind control. The programmers have the best with mind control is to have as many as possible toddlers, smaller children, young teenagers, older teenagers, adolescents, and a bit beginning of 20 plus. And with me are the little ones, and the teenagers were the most of them, the majority. And welcome on Trovo, and thank you for joining me. And also thanks for showing the wiki by Barry. Thanks so much for doing that on all these channels simultaneously. So well, now I should not lose my thread, because this is a very important detail. For example, how then it can be more logic why I had so many personalities. Because a lot of these personalities were only one time used. And then they were put aside by my brains in like also a brain does, that a memory, if the brain would have to remember everything what we experienced in life, yeah, then the brain would burst. While the brain is a miracle on its own, like the capacity of our brains is incredible. And what a lot with MKultras is that the brain also is expanded, literally. So there should be more activity if I should make a picture of my brains. Yeah, and I hate these radiation stuff. Otherwise, I would already, I believe, have wanted to know how far my brain capacity is fully working, because then I would be able also to see if I'm whole and that my brain has no longer spots which are not being used. I would be so fascinated by it. But yeah, I mean I know medical things are needed if they are needed in urgencies, so in emergencies. But I try to avoid as much as radiation as possible. Although it is said not being dangerous, I always do my methods and meditation on then protecting, even when the dentist wants to make a Röntgen picture, that's how they call it here, X-ray picture, that's the word, so X-ray. And I'm curious what you experience with that, because I don't want to allow any X-rays, so not even these dentist-like things. But then I try to protect myself as best as possible. Well, then this 16-year-old, after talking with this 16-year-old on the spot of, first she was naive and she didn't care. And now the graphic warning. So I will then count from, let's try out, maybe from 6 to 1. So here comes the graphic content. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That she carried this 16-year-old. I talk more often about snuff movies. Snuff movies, they call it. And they are actually of the trafficking. Many children and teenagers are being made pictures of and videos, and they call that snuff videos. And these snuff videos are not only like I was being raped also in the videos, and that I had to be sitting there without any clothing. But this 60-year-old, she felt ashamed because she also had to sit with her beloved stuffed animals. And at times she also had even in her arms to cradle a dead animal who was just having been killed. But next to that with snuff movies, and that's really happening also with the world who, for example, sells these pictures of children and so on. There are a lot of videos. I'm sure the people who work at private investigators, but also the police, detectives and so on, they know that FBI, CIA, they know that snuff movies, that it's a lot. And here again that graphic, that I watched a lot of strangling, and I myself also had to undergo that. And the 16-year-old showed me new memories of that my handlers took me, and these new memories were in the Netherlands, sadly enough, with the dad, and that he took me to these underground scene, and that I was then pictures taken of me and videos, and also with other children. And the most horrific things is when children were of a less level of mind control, then their handlers would just, if for example a raper would do that in that video recording and try to rape a child who is strangling on a rope, and that child died, then I had to watch that as well. And these children, and I'm really literally saying children and toddlers and teenagers, that they were then of a too low level according to the programmers. And my programmers took care of that. I had at least one or two. I talked a lot about that I always was being picked up by at least two people who were working for the programmers, and that they also were bodyguards at the same time. They had to take care of when someone who was raping me too heavily and that it would endanger my life, that they would then immediately take me away and take care of me. And that's also the sad thing, even in that deep state life, and that's why the programmers want also me having to watch that, because then I would be traumatized. So that was perfect. And perfect for the programming and to keep me also their slave. Yeah, and I always had to have the feeling like you survived. You should be grateful that you survived. So I had to bow even more for the handlers because they allowed me to keep living. So this is the end of this graphic warning. Yeah, and it is tough. And I thought when I said to my dear friend here, I'm not sure if I can talk about it, because do people want to hear it? Are people not running away from my live streams if I am too graphic? And if it's such a heavy subject, then she said, well, do it for your inner process. That was and is always your initial goal. Like to heal yourself, and by healing yourself, you heal others. And that is, that touched my heart again. Yeah, she's amazing. And and then I felt like, I should talk about it. So that's why I decided to even the graphic details. And it is the reason why I feel often my throat. In many live streams, I start to cough or I feel more choked. Also now when I talk about it, so that is then a very light way of reliving. It's very minimum. And at night, I still have lately. It has increased that I turn around in my sleep and wake up a lot, and that I then feel that I cannot lie on my side, but that I have to lie on my back, because then I feel more liberated in my neck. And that is, it is also kind of getting used to being strangled and so on, and all kinds of types of strangling. So I am adjust to it, but that's also why I, in a light way, can easily recall this strangling specifically, because it has been done uncountable times. And that's part, and yes, of the people I see in the world who lead worlds, who lead lands, who lead countries, who lead organizations, they do these things. And one of them is a certain doctor, and his name is in Italian like the sickle, the sickle of death. And I watched him harm and torture children in cages. And that should stop. It should stop, because it's true. It's true that this happens. And I'm not the only one who talks about it, fortunately, and a lot more people are talking about it. And I know it's a heavy subject, and I even am very much aware of that I might cannot even go live past midnight later on. So that's why I say maybe I will go live at 12 o'clock later on. But maybe I also have to quit earlier in this live stream, or I will go past the break to a more light-hearted subject. And for all the people who maybe watch my title, some channels still show the title I initially put up, like talking about Lilith and showing drawings. If I go live at 12 o'clock midnight, then I will show them. But I didn't have a time because I was, I had to deal with this part of the 16-year-old, which I'm now integrating. Then it is not the only personality which came forward, because a lot of these personalities who come forward, they are intertwined or intertwined. I don't know how you really say that, but are connected to majority of twin parts. And a twin personality was Rachel. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. Like, I started my live streams with calling myself Ray Tara Wallace, or Rachel in short. I also had a time that I even called myself Rachel Elizabeth. And then another surname, which I now cannot pronounce yet, because then I already think that I will be called crazy. I know I'm not, and I know you also don't believe so, but that I saw my birth certificate with my real birth date and my real birth time, as I said, 23/5/8. That had a lot of multiple usage, because it was a perfect coding for attaching it to all kinds of important personalities and core splits. But I did see on my birth certificate Ray Elizabeth, so Rachel Elizabeth. Well, actually, I started to realize it is since now a Rachel came forward, and that I suddenly start to feel, I'm tired of it, but maybe it's good to share that as well. And then I have really tears in my eyes, like I choose, because I was in my front called Monique. The love of my life, the American man, knew me as Monique. He also knew me in other personalities, and I thought, wait, now I have to go back from Rachel back to Monique, because I was tired of changing my name. The people who knew me, friends, know that I a couple of times changed my name. And I even, for years, did not want to do anything to do with the name Monique. And that is with all these personalities and the giant personality systems I talked about in earlier live streams. And that is part of what I want to do in the midnight live stream later on, or tomorrow night. Or Wednesday or Thursday at 12 o'clock midnight, to talk about one of these giant systems and then show drawings. And now I am in a dilemma, because I felt myself again being Rachel. And I also decided, by the way, to call myself Monique with the reasons I just mentioned, but as well because Rachel, you can watch my earlier live streams talking to myself overall. But I was so proud. I still am proud that I choose to go live. That you hear also myself calling me Rachel. But that I felt the choice was as well to go back to Monique, because Rachel was so heavy loaded with as well the military part. So hurt. I can still not rewatch my live streams from then. They are on my YouTube channel, by the way, for sure, and also on Twitch. I cannot look at it because I see a victim who also tried to warn the world, because I felt like from 2022, from August, I saw in the plans, in the military plans, that the World Army, the World Police Army, the Black Army, Deep State Army, would come to the surface more and more, and would call out a martial law worldwide, so that the steps would be taken to go to a martial law worldwide. And then I saw that suffering of Rachel, and I still see it, and that hurt me so much. And this is one of the reasons why I decided to just call myself Monique. Yeah, it is nice to share, by the way. I hope I don't make it too complex. Take a sip, says Yvonne. Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you, Yvonne. I know. Nicole, please share what you like, as this helps me and others as we heal. Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you so much. Because that is why I never wanted to say any graphic details. I am always in the back of my mind thinking like I might maybe trigger a mind control without even me knowing it. And that's not my intention. But thank you so much. That motivates me incredible. Hello, Tineke Jessie. Welcome as well on this English live stream. I love it that you all join, and the majority of you join me twice a week. I am incredible, grateful, and makes me so happy. But yeah, you can, I don't have to say that, but I think I radiate that. Hello, Jos, as well. Jos always present. And maybe I can count on one hand that you were not there, and that counts for the majority of you. It is so amazing. Thank you so much. Into exactly, and for those who can't speak anymore. Yeah, exactly. So there you know now my dilemma. I felt Ray Elizabeth, and that is what I saw on my birth certificate. Ray Elizabeth, and Ray is short for Rachel. And then that surname, two surnames, with a kind of how do you say that, koppelteken? Yeah, it's connected, a connection sign, symbol. I have to look up how that is being called, but so I am now finding out. Shall I now go back to Ray Elizabeth? But yeah, my official name is Tara Wallace. So you see what I mean? So how complex my life is. I don't know which direction it will go. And a very interesting, funny actual thing is that on my main YouTube channel, apparently some see Ray Tara or Tara Ray Wallace. So the Ray, R-A-E, is still in it. Yeah. How complex can it be? And initially I have a tendency to then ask, like, I put it now in God. For me, it's praying, the meditation, like in and with God, like, and my angels, like, give me the sign when I have to change my name back to Rachel. Ray. Yeah, it is complicated, but yeah, it is. I say a lot. It is what it is. I will now pour in my tea. But I see in 10 minutes we have a break. So Jos, thank you so much. Yeah, it is amazing. You maybe did not hear that first part, but I have again two personalities now integrating. And they are both very attached to the name Rachel and Ray, while the first 16-year-old was connected to my front life Monique as well. But it is very, it's very complex, and sometimes I want to scream out just in the house here in the living room, because I am the majority of time here in the house. And I scream literally when I'm alone, like, give me a sign. Why do I feel now again I want to change my name? And that is, I love sharing that with you, because I know also former MKultras, but also people who were traumatized. I'm sure many who were traumatized, sexual abuse, mentally abused, for certain reasons had to leave their family behind, that a surname or the name you were called by, or being born with, or named by the parents or one parent, that many people think like, I want to change my name. Or maybe are in doubt, like, shall I change it or not? Yeah, it is very, very complex for me, and then I get a very tired head. So a hyphen. Yvonne, you looked it up? Is that hyphen? Yeah, hyphen. I think so. I believe so. Well, thanks for looking up. And hello, Alice, as well. Welcome. Welcome. I sound like a carnival stage speaker, like welcome, and with the colors of the lighting, I feel like I'm on a carnival. But I like my background. Uh, I hope you like it too. It's not too carnivalesque, but I love the light. I like lights. I like the light. I was put in such darkness that I only want to be light and even more lighter. So I surround myself with light. But I like it, this background. So yeah, okay, Rachel. So that part, and then I talk about the second personality, Rachel, Ray. And I felt like when I was sitting separately in that way, I deprogram myself. So I have a center spot, which is the ego spot. And then I sit on a chair in opposite of my dear friend, who is very experienced with that and with me, and I myself as well. And that I first was sitting from me to the right, for you to the left. And that was then the teenager who was very carrying these awful snuff movie and pictures taken and so on, sexually abused and raped and worse. I'll go to earlier in my live stream if you want to hear these graphic details. And now I was sitting on, for me left, for you on the right, and then I was sitting in Rachel. And that was so amazing because I felt in my posture a total different manner of sitting, like straight and with confidence. Yeah, it is it is amazing how it feels coming out of a session like that, because it always helps flowing and getting the flow in the energy, and I mean the energy of within the emotions. Everything changes, and this is again why I can do the live stream. But you for sure must occur as well, that every time when I go live, almost every time, then I talk about, yeah, I just came out of a session. And that is really the truth. So it is connected, and that's why going live feels so incredibly uh, rewarding and being with you. So then I even can even more feel how it's so worthwhile to me to do my talk and to do these live streams. I say it every week, I know, but it's really the truth. So thank you for being here, you all. And I hope my channels will grow with that other mission I have. Well, my life's mission is, of course, finding my love in a life, freeing all the love in me, loving another on all levels, which, of course, also happened also this year. It's amazing what all is happening in me. And the mission is say no to evil, you know that. And for everyone who missed it, before we go to a break, because I really need my tea and I have a headache now, and that is another symptom of integration. Integrating personalities that can be very different. I can be incredible energetic, so that I then babble like a radio. They call me here radio, like um, which well, my friend said before I started the live stream, like, Monique, come on, which radio broadcast did you now put on yourself? So that's a joke in between us, that she calls me radio at times. But what I wanted to say was that I have again Dana Durnford coming as my guest on Saturday, July 1st. Yeah, yes, ka-ching! And it is confirmed this morning, Saturday, 1st of July, Dana Durnford, and he is a nuclear researcher, and he is anti-nuclear, and he has a lot of knowledge. He did not research just a couple of months, now for at least decennia, and he was a diver, so professional diver, I believe for commercial diving. But yeah, it's amazing that he comes for the third time, and the subject will be the fallout which is, in his opinion, an extinction event for the world and its humanity and animals and nature. So I think it can be, again, very interesting. So everyone, check out my channels. I will soon add, of course, the event and the promo. I will make a nice trailer again. So you will see it come by. Delvertje, you are one of a kind, Monique, and at the same time you are more than 10,000 people, 100,000 people. So I understand your dilemma. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder. That's really what I'm wondering. Like, I say it to my dear friend here because she had always the same name, and totally fine, very, very fitting. Also in the energy for her, the name she feels great, very fitting. And I wonder, do more people have that? Like, I wish I was called differently. It's very interesting that the parents actually decide what your name will be. That is very interesting. And when it's loving parents in balance with each other, for so every house has has I wanted to say a mixture of Dutch. Ieder huisje heeft zijn kruisje. Every house has its own rucksack. have its own waste, ballast, no, what is called its own weight, certain, everyone has something which has to work on or shadow part. But the majority of when parents are in harmony, then a name can totally fit. But it's interesting that you're being called by the parents. That's very interesting. Jos, I once again saw an archaeology YouTube that a grave was found in India. The bones were dated back 2.5 million years. So not only a human race, but therefore more humanoids. Yeah, well, the Big Bang. Who believes in the Big Bang? I always. It's not that I laugh to these people who believe that or think that is true, but it was not a Big Bang. For sure, for me, not the case. And there's a lot of. Now I see that I bumped into a YouTube channel, and then I felt so tired. Like, this is the reason why I last couple of weeks stayed a bit away from watching too many YouTube videos and so on, but specifically the subjects I want to know. And that I bumped in a YouTube channel who was totally ignoring that giants were real. And he was a scientist of a channel of over 3 million subscribers. And he is misinforming people. And that is so sad that these channels are incredible big. They do know a lot about science. I don't say that. But then in between, just say, show a picture of a giant, and then that he says that's fake. That's not true. And that's so sad. A lot of children who watch that channel are confused and misinformed. And it's such a pity that it's now all, like a chaotic truths and non-truths, half-truths, and so on and so on. And that is part of the double speech society, of course, what you all know. I will pour in my tea. Let's go for a break. Did I want to mention still about Rachel? Oh yeah, one thing about Rachel. Rachel was connected to as well that I had very vivid memories of when I was the Rachel personality. Then I had black hair, so my programmers then dyed my hair, and that's also a trick to create personalities. To every time when I was in a certain personality system, that I then also was forced to wear a wig. Sometimes that wig was blonde. I had many handlers who then brought me to certain, even also presidents, for example. One of the presidents of the USA loved, for example, Marilyn Monroe outfit, but also that I wore like a woman in red or a nurse. So it is then handy for the programmers to also, when I would see myself in the mirror, that I would then not recognize myself. And to come back to changing of personalities, I have a witness who not only one, but a couple of times it happened that people saw me change, and specifically my pupils. So my pupils were changing of my iris. Now the iris is the center of the eye, and now I'm doubting. You see, that's what happens as well, but that my eye color changed. So, and at times they also saw my hair color change. Yeah, it really happened. So it's not a joke. Coffee or tea time? Yay! Coffee or tea time! Oh my gosh. I'm making fun again. But I'm not any longer so obstinate as I was last Saturday. I had to rewatch my live stream last Saturday because I really was thinking I have to rewatch because I was so obstinate and it was so fiery. And then I felt like, well, let's leave it. Wow. Pupil is a center. Oh, then it's the iris. Yeah, I know that somehow, but oh. And by the way, after the break, I will talk about why did I add violet in the title, and I will not show drawings now, but I will talk about the origami connection. And I made a video. I will show that also. It is a promo, but before the break starts, I will show that. Where is it? Okay. And then we will go for the break. Desktop. I just like to show I put a lot of effort in it to create, and it's not needed, but yeah. I like to show it. Which one shall I do? This one. Okay, here it goes. Loop. Okay, here it goes. Here it comes, and then we go for the break. Origami. And a break. Yeah, we go for a break. I will grab my tea. I'll be back. Oh, a song. Playing a song. Yeah, Yvonne, be right back. Everyone take a snack or take a little break. A sniff outside. Here it just was a lightning and thunder and really rainfall. Oh, that was great. It is so great. Which one is this one? I hope this song is some... Alright. I will grab my coffee. Yes, indeed. I see indeed, Barry. Thanks. Yeah, questions. I forgot to mention that. Of course, questions. Welcome. Because I love questions. I try still the ASMR. Uh, okay. What did I wanted to do? Oh yeah, another song. Oh, I forgot to mention. I will take a break until a bit 5 to 9. Not too long, because I often notice then after the break, and somehow my energy drops. That happens a lot of times. So nice music. Ah, great. Yeah, it is nice, huh? And also on Trovo, follow also Barry Henderson. He has also his own channel and space, which is called there on Trovo. Also Rumble, same name, Barry Henderson. Follow him too, dear people. He has very variation in live streaming. Demonstrations worldwide, Extinction Rebellion. I always pronounce that wrong. Stumble always. Humor as well, music, politics, Dutch politics, but also abroad. It's so it's so much variation. I will try to get to Rumble chat. That's what I wanted to do. Hello, dear people on Rumble. Any questions? Welcome if you have questions. Live streaming. Channels. Ah, that's how it works on Rumble. I see now that small video, what you see here below. Oh, no, I understand. Okay, on Rumble. I think it's too early, I guess. Oh, is the song already done? Wait. Oh, it's 5 to 9. Well, then I will leave it. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jesse. I have no questions on the moment. Oh, I'm now very angry that you have no questions. Oh, I'm kidding. Oh gosh. Oh, you see, if I'm on my best if I have right before the live stream a session. Well, or maybe not. Oh gosh. Yeah, Tineke Jessie. Well, you're here. That's already incredible appreciated by me, and that counts for everyone. But I love questions. Yeah, I do. Oh boy. So, yeah, violet. Well, you see a purple background lately of mine. I will add some honey in my tea as well. Is everything still in order with the sound? Check. Sound check. I lately really feel like I am in a live studio. I'm thinking I'm so proud of myself that I do that all, and I mean the technique here. I'm very proud of what I learned, and yeah, I can really enjoy it, the experience, and what has been taught, of course, amongst the many of the moderators. I learned a lot from them and from Barry Henderson, of course, a lot. But it is so, oh man, I feel now, yeah, grateful, just grateful. Sound is good into. Ah, thanks so much. Yeah, I'm curious if I did not check. That's one thing what I can do. Like if there are people from abroad, and now I get, yeah, it's on the geolocation app. Yep, I see only Dutch and one German. So, but yeah, a lot of, by the way, my subscribers watch after because it's too early, specifically for the people in America, USA, and so on, that it's not the best timing, 7:30 p.m. So, and welcome for everyone who re-watches this. It's already after the break, but oh, I should stop the break. And that video. So, because otherwise it's too, I would almost say it will be too distracting. Tineke Jessie, I have a question. You have a question? Why don't they help us out this scary situation? And you mean by pointing up you mean the alien part or the angels or God? Who do you mean with, who are they, if I can ask? Because it is a lot got to do, what I do can answer is it's free will, the creator. And I mean, if you don't like the word God, then it is the creation, the creator who we are all part of, that divine divinity love and unconditional love. And there is free will. Yes. So there is free will, and that is very important and for me as well, that I can check if angels or someone who acts benevolent is really, yeah, for me that's very important, always free will. And I'm not saying that it is not speaking out borders, because there's a lot of confusion about that more and more because of what they call the woke culture. No, I mean, as beings, we have free will to choose. And that is part of not helping, because what does helping do? Help is help. Helping is great. When someone is calling out for help, for example, someone is in a pond and cries out for help, I would immediately jump and help that people out, the person out. But I mean how do I say that you also should be able to stand on yourself. That's actually what I mean. Yeah, do you get what I mean? I don't know why I am so confusing explaining it, but it's free will. Just be patient. The spirit world is already busy. Their strength is growing. That's towards Tineke. It is, it is. There is a lot of what I talked about in earlier live stream. I feel a lot for sure coming months happening, and I because I talked also about red wave code from east to west, which has revived in me with the military part in me, and that I see in China very concerning things. And yeah, I study a lot about China at the moment, the politics and what is happening there. And yeah, because in the military plans I saw it from there rooted, and the yeah, an example how the world should be according to the satanic worshippers and so on, and neo-Nazism. So, but I talked about that last Saturday, and for now I wanted to. Yeah, you're welcome, Tineke Jessie. How many planets do we have on Earth? On Earth, close to Earth. How many planets? Oh, then it's difficult for me, because what is called a planet or not? It's a bit difficult, and I am still recalling. I still have flashes of my military, flashes of that I am in a spaceship, or am drifting through space, or going through a portal. So it is for me important that I more and more remember. And that is why I do the deprogramming, of course. Well, violet, I see now also on Twitch, it's purple, a lot of purple, violet. And I love that color, by the way. Violet, well, to come back to the basics of mind control, and the majority of you who are here even twice a week know what I mean. Color coding, color programming. All colors of the rainbow have been used, and of course in my programming, but also in the worldly programming, a lot of colors are being used and were used for programming. That's just an open question, but maybe I always love to interact with you. Like, why do certain flags have typical colors? Why are many flags have specific colors, like red, white, or blue? There are always a certain, and why stripes? Why horizontal stripes? Why vertical stripes? I forgot which flag, but I think it was an original spot. Was it, I believe, in Italy? And the origin of that flag had a beautiful drawing of a creature, but it was a creature who stood for freedom. So not a dragon, or, not a reptilian being or whatever, but it was a beautiful drawn flag. I will look it up, and that felt to me very authentic, very original, and very coming from the origin. But it's very interesting that many flags have only symbolism. So I found that very interesting. But yeah, the violet color. Violet color is a high color, also in the energy and chakra system. The violet color and purple is one of the highest leveled colors call, and also the spiritual colors for cosmic. A lot of times I see in aura fields, I see above the crown chakra, I see a lot of violet. Also purple, for example, some world leaders and of the monarchies. I was also next to rituals in cocktail parties, and then, for example, the one who was so-called royalty, or from a monarchy, and that they or he or she was only allowed to wear purple. So it has been also a sign in the deep state, specifically with their rituals and their hidden secret, I call it cocktail parties and dinners, that if you see someone wear purple as the only one, then you know she or he has been seen as the one who was how you say that? I lost that word. But that he or she was allowed to wear purple. And so this violet I had in my programming personality was called violet. And the violet was part of my front, so my Dutch front personality. And as I talked about the 16-year-old, before the break, I talked about that the Dutch teenager, and with Rachel having black hair, but the violet personality, me, was also connected to it. violet personality, I wore a lot of purple or violet colored sweaters when I was a teenager, and then always sweaters which were too big, and that I could, put my hands inside of the sleeves. And now I know that I wanted to disappear. I wanted to be as invisible as possible, not being noticed by everyone. I was a wallflower specifically before I was 70 years old. I was so sad and so unhappy in my front life, and I actually never knew why I was so unhappy and why I had so little friends. And why I cried every night. I didn't know. Now I understand, no. But this Violet, the interesting thing about Violet was that I had a dear friend later on when I was going to the conservatory in Tilburg in the Netherlands. And I studied there for piano, and I have my diploma. Also for piano teacher, I have my official diploma. And there I also wore a lot of violet color, and I had a dear friend there. And we played a lot together, and she was extremely talented, more talented than I was, because I started to play the piano only later. I started with organ, and from my 13 years old, I only started to play piano. And that was, a backdrop. That was just, I had to work very hard on the conservatory to catch in everyone. And then I still got my diploma, even with all the programming, and everything went wrong around my exam. Well, I talked about that in the earlier live streams, how it was disturbed, even my piano exam, with the most weirdest things. But yeah, I talked about that already in earlier live streams, as I said. I should not wonder too much of my story. And that this dear friend was writing a book. She said it is a novel, but she was honest, and she told me, like, yeah, I also put you in it, but under another name. And she had put my name so in that book without even mentioning my real name. And then I was reading that script, and then I saw that she called me Violet, and I was so offended that I even was very angry at that friend, like, how could you call me Violet? And later on, I realized she actually captured, without her knowing, my personality was called Violet, and she was always a very dear friend. It was a hard friendship, because the friends which I had were often she had extreme highs and extreme lows, so she was very unstable, like with her mental capacity. So that's another thing. But now I realize, wow, and I still recall that script I threw away, and I told her, I cannot see you for coming months because I cannot stand it that you called me Violet. Well, actually, Violet is a beautiful name, and she did not even mention my real name. So, but I was offended as well, because I thought, now people start to recognize me in that book. And now I realize I wish I still had that script, because maybe I was with my Violet personality in the presence with this dear friend, and that I never knew that I was switched into another personality, and other things happened as well with other personalities in me, and that I now can grasp now more the fluency in how my life was as a whole, with the programming and so on. Now, with this Rachel, she apparently is connected to that Rachel, or the name Ray, R-A-E, and I'm very intrigued by how this now will develop. And next to the color violet, I lately am also meditating on violet color. And that is, no coincidence. And maybe some of you have heard about the flame of Saint-Germain. Hey, that rhymes a bit. Saint-Germain flame, and that's violet light. And I thought, this is no coincidence. So yeah, it helped me get this to the surface, and that is why Violet. I seem to recall that the name Violet was also in a British television series. I think of the Bouquet family. I forgot appearances, keeping up appearances. Well, a very famous British television series, which it's one of my all-time favorites, by the way. So. Jos, I'm going to make cappuccino. Oh, that was already 7 minutes ago. Maybe you already. I have to take a sip because I have a dry throat. I will put it away a bit because otherwise it's ASMR with swallowing. So that's the name Violet, and yeah, interesting, huh? That I believe many people have that in life, that they then when they grow older, I think that's the advantage, by the way, of also being older. Like I can more balance out things and yeah, be more at ease with it and looking back. And of course, I come from mind control and MK Ultra, so yeah, what am I talking about? My whole life was far from normal, and what is normal? So, yeah. And by the way, I see that I'm one follower away from 270 followers on Twitch. Thank you so much. That is great. I suddenly see it that I'm almost on 270. Wow. Um, well, that's Violet. Yeah, I just showed you the little video with the origami, and I choose specifically the rabbit and the owl. The origami, why is it connected to Violet and connected to Rachel or Ray, what I talked about, and the 16-year-old that I suddenly recalled, connected to the violet color, the my former systems, which were one of them was a pyramid shape, and then there was a reversed pyramid. So then you have this. I think it was called octahedron. I have to look it up, but I think it is called octahedron. Two pyramids stick to each other with the bottoms, with the bottom side of the pyramid. And that in my system was also one who could change colors, and that was also one of the violet one. And that started to, yeah, after this session, and with Violet coming to the surface and Rachel, that I realized suddenly that I now could remember more about how origami was put in my programming as well. And that I suddenly realized, hey, I never talked about that. I don't seem to remember that I ever mentioned it in a live stream. Maybe one time. I believe one time I did mention a game, and it was based on origami. And this video game was also put in my programming. A lot of items like the American emergency service, that is here 112, and that is here or that is in the USA 911. And that has a reason why these numbers are being chosen, by the way. That's that symbolism in the world. Many of the number sequences are handy as well to trigger MK Ultras. So for me it was 911 a trigger, but also 112, 112. And many other emergency systems have a number sequence. So per country, it's maybe interesting to know that you know, oh, this coding is chosen to trigger certain personalities who live in that certain country. Well, that's handy, of course, very practical to use an emergency telephone number to use that in MK Ultra. So that is, of course, very interesting. Jos, you're back? Yeah, I'm sweaty, by the way. Oh, I feel that it did a lot to share what I did before the break. So it's again, I did take a break and then my energy dropped. And it's a pity, of course, but I will follow how my energy is. And I realize that I, well, in general, I talk almost 3 hours in total. I have no problem talking, babbling, but yeah, you know what I mean. So I realized that I got used to, of course, going to 3 hours, yeah, being live streaming. But I realized that by talking again about, before the break, about these new personalities, that then the head gets tired because I feel them now inside, watching with me from within. And so they now a bit influence me in my tiredness. So I'm very honest in that. So, but I will go over it. I will get over it. Delvertje, the rain woke up the snails in my garden. Yeah, here too. Yeah, it is. Yeah, they love it, eh? They love the rain. And then they come forward. Yeah, I'm always very mixed with the snails, because I'm very intrigued by them. Like, for example, if I see them crawling, and then I do a small chore, or I walk to another room and then come back, and I do see that that snail ended up pretty far. Do you have that as well? I am always amazed by how nature sometimes can amaze me with that suddenly it is stage further. And with snails, it's amazing. They're slow, but they are steadfast. I'm always amazed with that. And that counts for some plants as well, or bushes, that I follow the growth in the garden, and then suddenly a bush can be totally grown. It's amazing. It's a miracle. Delvertje makes me wonder where they are when it is dry. Yeah, in their little shells, of course. Yeah, underneath leaves a lot, and underneath low plants. But yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, yeah, snails. It's like with many things. It's been used in my programming as well. But I will not mention now another torture what I had to do with snails. Maybe I did mention that one in the live streams, but I realize now how almost everything is being used in my programming. And now again I see that pop up of the Outlook. And that's why you see suddenly my face get wider. That's that pop up, which pops up. I have to look at that later on. Delvertje, you know the tail of the turtle and the hair, the turtle one. Yeah, worms. Yeah, steadfast. Yeah, indeed. The worms. Tineke Jesse, I'm back. There was a lot of things. Oh, Tineke Jesse falling on your head. How is that possible? Why did things drop on your head? Be careful, please. So origami, that was what I was talking about. In the front life, I loved handcraft, so DIY, and then especially folding with paper. So I always loved origami, and at one time I could make the most beautiful things. I had also a best friend who happened to be as well the daughter of that physician who also abused me, sexually abused me. So was it coincidence? I don't think so. But that I was always very fond of folding papers. And do you know that frog-like paper? Maybe the people of my age, 50 plus, know that you can fold something and there you can write numbers on it, and then you have to fold it open, close, open to other side, and then within you could write some messages, and then you had to say like, say a number to 10. And then you would have to do the times you opened that thing, and then underneath the flap of that number, then there was a keyword. Maybe, do you remember? I forgot how it's called, but I loved doing that. And I made a little, what they call little origami devils. And I still recall that I folded origami and made paper things for when I was at school. That I one time remember that I made many of these little devils with the little ears folding as origami, and that I gave them as present on school, on the primary school. Yeah, I am not sure, did I do that maybe to show that I was involved in the deep state who were serving Satan and Lucifer. I'm not sure, but now, today, for sure, since now with these new personalities and remembering Rachel and so on, and Ray, that I felt like, wow, things come together now. That's actually what I realized. And it was also connected to my inner paper town, of which I talk about a lot, specifically in the beginning live streams, that I have an inner system, had an inner system which was called Paper Town. So I was fond of creating things with paper, and I still am when there is a little guy coming to visit, which is not happening a lot, but and then the three of us are then folding things and crafting things, and I love that. And once I start, then I wanted to start building a house and so on, cute things, all cute things. So, Tineke Jessie, I was taking some things in my room and that was falling on my head. Oh boy. Be careful. Be careful. And Yvonne says, yes, I know that. Yeah, it's a very famous folding paper game. So that was in the front life that origami was present in my life. And I could also fold the crane bird. That is a Japanese bird of luck. And that was put in my programming. So what I actually created in my front life was being used in my programming as symbolism and to trigger personalities in me. And the white rabbit, one of my basic programmers, he loved this crane bird, and he wanted me to also learn to fold that crane. I don't know if it's called crane bird or only crane, but with only crane, I think it could be also a crane of which you then lift up weight, and so like the crane wagon. I hate it that I sometimes don't recall English names while I know them, like a crane truck or truck crane. Oh God. Sorry, dear people from abroad. I sometimes have that. I just lose the word in my memories. That's the integration, and I realize now mixing up my names. So that's also why I now realize that I am tired, because I do the live streams and my life in and with the name Monique. And that is since I started the when I started the live streams, I was still called Rachel. How complex can it be? Actually, that's, if I count back to the time when I started the live streams, then it's only a few years ago. But yeah, I'll leave it. It's, I think I am, I'm now feeling the reactions of the integration. Oh yeah, the integration, the crane bird. I talked about that game. I forgot the name. The Japanese anime. Well, the origami, the origin is from Japan, and Japan as programming system. I had so many systems. I talked also about certain systems, still not mentioning, because I had so many systems, and I thought if I talk of all these systems in a row, then people will not follow me any longer. Lose the red thread. But now with origami, now again back in that Rachel name, I thought maybe I should talk about it. That Japan and the color red and white has, so the Japanese flag has that red dot, and or the other way around. You see, now I doubt again. So that is the confusion of these integrating personalities. So I apologize if I mix up things now. And it is the tiredness which my head is now responding on integration and integrating innerly. And I hate it, but yeah. So the color red, and that the crane bird was also connected for me to blood and to some of military black ops. And Japan, like many countries, like the Netherlands was part in my programming, Great Britain, America. I had also Paris, and that was then the capital city of France, of course. But so not the country France was put in my system, but only Paris. So it was very mixed and diverse in what countries were taken and what cities were taken to put in my programming. I forgot what I wanted to say, but that the crane bird is also part of Japanese culture. And that I recall that with the crane bird, that was when I see that crane bird still as origami, that I see then blood spatters, blood drops on it. And that is part of to seal off certain black ops, of which I, with my Delta team, also was called to other countries to, for example, help. I don't know if I should mention it, but there is a certain organization which helps people. And here we go again. The organization itself started with real helping people, and then it's becoming integrated with people from the deep state and worshipping Lucifer and neo-Nazism. And they go higher up, and then they end up in the highest top of the organization, while the lower levels, meanwhile, do their best to help people. So I'm not attacking anyone. And that certain, there we go again with that pop-up. I hate it. Yeah, it is a disturbance tonight. Sorry. And it has a red cross. Well, then you know that organization. And it saddens me to talk about that, because I want to avoid making it too clear which organizations I mean, but there are so many organizations being infiltrated, sadly enough, and that the people, the lowest layers of it, know and mean well with helping people. And it's well known that in World War II, that organization also helped Nazism. And that's being proven, by the way. There are documents being released, because I was present where documents were being released for public, and then the majority of these documents were withheld from being public, and that was again a trade from country to country, and that was in this case with Japan. And because Japan was in some way also involved, I will keep it a bit in general, that I'm not disclosing too much of it. I don't know how much I can talk about it. And that's the way it goes often. So if, for example, a certain organization or a country has to release some things publicly, otherwise it would be too suspicious, then they make deals with other countries or with other organizations, and they only show then a tiny bit of what is really happened, to in this way then save face. That is also an expression in the Middle East, in China, for example. And if you lose face, yeah, that's awful in these countries, in the Asian countries. So that is extremely important also to the world, and of course to distract the people then, because then the people have a little bone on which they can chew on, and then they won't think of, no, we have to know the whole truth, everything what has happened. But interesting that I'm now all recalling also these black ops. I call them black ops, black operations, because they were secretly done. And I was present at that moment that it was being released. And what else was in the documents? I know what else was in the documents, and it had got to do with some army parts of the only thing what I can say was that it had got to do with military stuff and weapons and military trucks, amongst others. That was part of it. So that was what I still recall. So that's the origami part, folding, paper folding. And I'm now curious because I'm now also studying Chinese. Because I talked about it a lot, that in my military section of my programming, which I hope can surface now, is that I know that I was taught Russian, and one of that was also Mandarin, Chinese, and Japanese. Can I speak fluently? No. So is it true? I'm not sure. And that is what I often say. I am not really sure if things what I still have not resurfaced, because I cannot talk fluently Chinese. So apparently it looks like I cannot speak Chinese. But so what did I do? I decided to teach Chinese, or to teach to study Chinese. So I'm very curious if that will trigger memories, because that is why I do that, to trigger myself. And in this way, I hope then to recall, as fast as possible. And of course, to free the language part in me. And I'm very curious when and if that will happen. And I say it a lot, like, if it happens, then you are the first to know. Next, of course, my dear friend here. But I will go live then. If that happens, and I talk in a different language very fluently, I already made myself that promise that I will for sure record it. And I will go live then if I speak that language. That would be the day for me, if I could, because that is for me, of course, for me the proof that it's being put in my system. But that's with the MKultra. I say it a lot. Things by the way, there is a difference. Flashbacks, I know they're real, so I don't doubt about that. But when I hear a personality say a couple of times, like, hey, you know a certain amount of languages and until now it's not surfaced, then I'm not sure. You know what I mean? But my flashbacks and relivings of what I recall from what I had to do, was forced to do, I don't doubt about that. So, Yvonne, ni hao. Yeah, ni hao. Ni hao. Jos is going for a smoke. Well, I talked about in the beginning about this full mind control, and that I just chose, well, if I say I was full mind control slave, for me it was the case, and I let go of if it's vulnerable to say that, because that's the whole woke culture lately, and I just feel like, my programmers called me a slave, and this enslavement in connection to aggression. And that is a part of which I also wanted to highlight, because I got sometimes the question, like, were you ever really angry? Were you not made aggressive? Like a lot of psychopaths, and I say specifically psychopaths or sociopaths, they are also being often, also by the way, hidden MKultras or hidden Monarch programmed ones. That is not being shown, but a lot of them are that and have for sure a lot of trauma and sexual abuse or mentally abused and disbalanced parenthood. A lot of them. I don't say all, a lot of them. And Dana Durnford, he will come the 1st of July, coming Saturday, third time. He has also a very interesting view on that, why more and more people are becoming more without feeling and mental diseases and so on. So why? Because I was taught to be aggressive. Yes, I was. I recall one moment that at certain time I wanted to protect my child who had to undergo a certain trauma, torture, horrific trauma, horrific torture, and I couldn't deal with it. And then I grabbed a dagger from one of the people who were close to my child, who was hanging on the cross, and then I took the dagger and stabbed that person in the wrist. And that was me being the mom who couldn't deal any longer with. I wanted to stand up to defend my child. But of course, it is still what I feel ashamed about and feel guilty about, and that's survivor's guilt. And I believe that's actually, it's pretty okay that I feel survivor's guilt, but that means that I have a conscience. But it's very hard for me to express what it feels like to hurt others while my programming is forcing that. Not me from within, not my true me. I was screaming from within, no, I don't want this. But yeah, if I was taking the choice of or you do that, or we will kill this child or your own child, or threatening to kill my family. Yeah, and the programming. So I was taught a lot of horrific things, like also a lot of people in CIA, FBI, detectives. They learn to defend themselves, but they also learn, of course, to hurt others. And I feel extremely guilty about that. But there is a difference in dealing with aggression and healing from aggression. The way I always felt, and that's also my dear friend. And in the beginning years, I even told her, like, are you now not afraid that suddenly a personality comes forward in me who could be aggressive? And then she said, no, I don't doubt it at all. I just feel totally safe with you. And I myself as well felt that always. And this is because I have my consciousness. It is also because I started this whole deprogramming journey with the man I had a relationship with, and I still love very much, an American man, and he worked on me in deprogramming with the parts who were taught to become aggressive, so in the programming. So then a lot of it was channelized and I got rid of it, but I never lost my source, my core of a certain way of, I always kept my consciousness, and that's the savior. So that's maybe also hope to others who might be afraid of, what do I do with all the anger in myself? Because it will come forward at a certain moment. Well, if you peel off layer after layer, that's why I also chose to do only layer after layer, because then I would not trigger myself in maybe have to deal with a layer like that. But yeah, as I said, my whole deprogramming life is different than others maybe, because that dearest man did help me channel or leave that initial aggression. And I myself was always so in with God and the angels that I just never felt that would happen. And I know that sounds weird, but that never happened with me. Well, aggression. To come back to that, how did I deal with the anger I had? That in the beginning years, I hit with fists pillows, and I screamed in pillows because I was living inside this house and I was always afraid that the neighbors would hear me. So then I would put a pillow and then I would scream in the pillow, and I would, with my fists, if I was angry. And I somehow never developed a hate. And that, I think, was also my savior, as well as that my dear friend here always never even showed any fear of that I would have a hidden personality in me. No, never. And that is, for me, still that I'm so grateful about. And it is a tough subject, because I know I make myself also vulnerable with that. But it is, and I'm now whole with my core, so it is. I just know that it won't never happen. That will never happen. So, but it's a complicated subject. But I wanted to talk about the enslavement of and how that can cause aggression, like in countries, like for example in China. That once was China had ancient knowledge, and I love the way they build, like in many other cultures. It's not only in China, but China is just an example of how beaten up that country is, and the people themselves. And by having such like communism and also dictators, then when a generation after generation is being born in a dictatorship or communism, then the people get with each generation more and more enslaved and a bit passive in behavior. And that's the way that goes. But where is that aggression going? Well, the inner aggression, this is why these dictators know what they're doing. The aggression is then often being used to, for example, to do a propaganda move, like make propaganda. Or discriminate, for example, another country. It doesn't have to be China, but just someone else. And children are being taught to, for example, hate a certain country, which in one time in the past of a country also literally hurt a lot of that country and the people. But the dictators know that, so they know this aggression is there as an archetype, as a country archetype, as a whole pile of, which is then collecting generation after generation. Well, where is that aggression going? And that is then being opened, and like that suddenly a whole, like a volcano, all that angriness comes out of the subconscious of these people. And this is why I've seen literally children in certain countries with dictatorship, because I don't want to call out all the time China, but that these children are being indoctrinated or being taught, like with weapons, stab into, for example, another country, which of a country which hurt that country in many generations before. And these children are being taught to put their sword into these puppets of hay. And that is a way to channelize as well, I hope it's the right word, but to let go of that aggression. And it's sad that it happens, but that is to me enslavement and aggression. And in me, in a way, is this same theme and subject and same technique also used, of course. This is, for me then, that personalities in me got robotical, because I felt so awful in having been taught to fight in the military. I just had to follow some procedures, and as Black Widow in the programming, that I just was forced to hurt others, and I had to then leave my body, and I became that robot. So in fact, I did learn to have certain aggression with weapons and so on. So I thought, well, maybe it's good to talk about this subject, because I see it now that dictators know about this technique. And yeah, it is sad, but technique to control, yeah. Tineke Jessie, why want the evil dictators the same system like China? Well, I will call that name. Why the same systems like China? Because it makes generation after the generation docile is also another word for it. Generations are then becoming passive because the dictators want for sure that the people become more and more passive. So if they can do that generation after generation, then the generation after that becomes more and more passive. So the dictators hoped then, that's why I saw in the deep state that they laughed about and called the people, humanity, zombies. That's why the zombie movies were created. The zombies, the deep state see us as zombies. And this dictatorship, like, and the communist system is, I don't say that the democracy is better than communism, but it is for me, but that's my own opinion. I feel it is better because there is a certain choice, certain freedom still to choose. But I have my own opinions on that there no democracy nor communism, but it is maybe too complicated because it's not about making a discussion about it. But communism is about that people are not allowed to even demonstrate or protest. Well, you all know what communism is, and that leads to dictatorship, in my opinion, far quicker than a democracy, because then there's still a counterbalance. There are other, of course, hidden things in it. If a democracy is a hidden dictatorship, that's something else. Like in many countries, that the parties appear to be different in their opinion, but they are serving the same basic goal, and that's neo-Nazism as well, and serving Lucifer and Satan. So it's a whole system of which, that's why I take that example of China because I see it as example, like also with its face recognition. I mean, it is now being pulled through in Europe. I mean, Italy has already a test city, what I seem to have seen in the media. Oh, now again that pop-up. Oh, man. It's so awful. But yeah. It's true, Jos, what you say. It's purely about control. So being a slave, it's that slave behavior. And then used the aggression. So in effect, the usage of the aggression, which also helps the dictatorship, and that's the evilness. That is so evil, of course. That's an evil technique. It's mind control. From Italy is evil, so too. I don't trust her. Yeah, it is. I'm very curious what all will happen here, and not only in the Netherlands, but of course in the world. But I see too many things which, I talked about it too much, I know, but I'm really looking around for the signs of that female Luciferian world leader will pop up suddenly. That it has been shown to me in the plans, which I saw on that military base with these 4 generals. And I'm still not really at ease with that. I'm still, watching if I see the signs for it. But I see too much which is not still right according to what I know of these plans. So maybe I will talk about it more when I have my military part more integrated. So I think I will go into more interaction with you because I'm tired. Even my back is tired. So, but yeah, what an incredible journey, yeah. A couple of what? Well, last Saturday I told you 212 personalities, and now again two. So it's energy absorbing, but I have a lot of things which I look forward to. Like the 1st of July, that Dana Durnford is again a guest in my live stream talking about the nuclear industry and the dangers of it and his research of years and years. Tineke Jesse, they're playing mind games and they love it. Yeah, I did a live stream. That was my first live stream, I think, on YouTube. About Squid Game. How Squid Game. Oh man, that is the same. That's what I mentioned with these children who are being taught to yeah to become a soldier already and to learn being aggressive, but with the wrong reasons. That is so sad. And Squid Game is awful. But Black Mirror as well on Netflix. I did not watch any longer. I did watch a few episodes. I'm still not sure if it's still running, but I decided no, I cannot watch it any longer. It became too evil, too much showing exactly what you want to head for in the world, and I want to stay positive. Tineke Jesse, Dana's always welcome. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's a sweet man. He's a sweet man, and he means well with humanity. I just can feel that. I all the time try to put the glass here, but no. Then it's in the way of the flowers. I have fresh mint tea, by the way. Fresh mint from the garden. It's really lovely when it's hot to drink mint tea. Yeah, he's a sweet man. Yeah, he radiates that, huh? Very, very passionate. Very passionate. There's so much to talk. He has so much to talk about. So well, I'm looking forward. I'm so looking forward to it. Really. Um, yeah. So yeah. Or did I forgot something? I always am so. It's so different, each live stream. Then at times I have a subject, and then it's already almost 10:30, and now I think like, did I now talk about everything what I wanted to talk about? It's really. It depends, of course, of also about what I came across with my inner system and inner personalities and what pops up again in me is again like, oh, now I have to figure out which name I want to use in my life. That is so. I still don't know. Maybe I will leave it to Monique, or maybe it will change. You will all hear about it, of course. Like I share everything, certainly what about the deprogramming. But let's see how it will unfold. And also curious what this summer will happen, and specifically from September this year, also in the Netherlands. Yvonne, I like Mo. Yeah, I like Mo too. Jos, Dana is just like me. He's also figuring everything out, just like me. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And repeatedly talking about the subject. And because of I learned also a lot from him because he repeats so often and goes live, and because he goes pretty quick through the matter. But by repeating it, and I started to become more aware of it, and it's great. Repetition can be incredible, amazing. And I also want to figure out everything, Jos, and sometimes that It's not always handy for me, but my head gets then want to do all kinds of things, all kinds of things at the same time. Like I wanna learn Chinese, and I also want to learn pick up again my Japanese. So uh, and I cannot do that all at once, all the same things at once. And I am like that. I often want to do things at the same time. I do like it as well, multitasking. I do love it as well, but one step at a time. Yeah, 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 that is. Yeah, one step at a time. And I do feel very refreshing of the thunder and lightning and the weather which has released now the rain. And I discovered Rachel again, and it rained. It was raining when I was doing this session with this teenage part and with Rachel in me. A renewed, of course, renewal of getting to know my inner Rachel. So, but yeah, I wonder if you recognize that with the aggression, that technique of how that's also being used in not only MK Ultra in me, was used in me, but also in the world. And it's the same like what I saw in the Netherlands. That I just felt it. I saw the techniques like hoping that the people would feel so enough with, for example, with the curve to stay inside the house, and that there would be aggression, and that then the government could use it to even more strengthen the measurements. And this is also the reason why I truly believe that violence is never the answer. We can do it peacefully. Say no to evil. Here I go again. Yeah. Oh. And I still had to laugh because in the last live stream I was totally yawning before I ended the live stream, and now I feel again a yawn. and it and it looked awful, so I cut out that part of the yawn because I felt like when everyone is watching my live stream and then I end up with yawning, then yeah, I felt it was so funny. It was funny as well, but love is the answer. Yes, indeed, Yvonne. Love is the answer. Yeah. And on Trovo, there is a treasure box winner. Q Qesor02. Well, congratulations. you you got the treasure box. You won. Because that's on Trovo. For everyone who likes a bit of gaming, or it is a bit a game element. It's nice with features and emotes and animations, and you can win things and points. It's a clever system on Trovo, by the way. Yvonne Love is the answer. That's also a song. Yeah, there are several songs of Love is the answer. Jos Rutte is like a twist. He talks to you, but behind your back, he sells your property. Yeah, I know what you mean, Jos. Yeah, I cannot watch. It's just my own experience. It's just I cannot listen nor watch. And the manners, taught manners, the gestures, and I observe a lot of the how. Yeah, I always like also to watch how people move, how they act while they say things. Specifically, the yeah, certain people, and it's very interesting. Yvonne, I'm not a gamer. Yeah, you have to. I, it's not for everyone, but it's for sure nice how it's so vivid there. Also the chat, people have even animated. I have I've seen someone who has an animated cat snout, and that comes then closer as profile picture. It's fun for the one who like it. So I will check on Rumble if there are people watching now. Welcome everyone on this English live stream. Yeah, I did everything. Oh yeah, the Lilith programming. Ah yeah. Yeah, I talked about Lilith programming. But it's yeah, the Rachel part I remember now as well why I choose to call myself Monique. Another reason is that Rachel was also very connected to the Black Widow programming and this heavy satanic stuff, and the Dr. Green programmer, and that the Black Widow. I only recent found out that the movie was already maybe a couple of years already in the cinema. I only just recently found out, and I saw things come by like Black Widow, that it was a title of a movie. And maybe I will watch it, but I'm a bit careful in it because I'm not sure if I feel a lot resonate in myself, of course, because of the program. The Black Widow is one of my heaviest programming. Well, Yvonne, do you still play the cat game? Well, funny that you ask, because I was thinking about should I continue. What I found out was that the cat game ended up to be in an environment. There is a level of which you see meat. That the walls and the ceilings and the floors are all meat covered with fat and kind of juice which resembled a mix of blood and jelly, and I felt like, should I do that? I'm not sure. I still want to play one time Doom, but Doom is also pretty horror. I'm not sure if I dare to. Maybe when I cannot sleep, that I will go online, and then I will do that maybe only on my second Twitch channel, because I have a second Twitch channel. I'm still not sure what I want to do with it, but the cat game is not so peaceful as I thought. You don't see violence, but it's not pleasant to see. It's a pity. Yes, I often meditate and often take the whole person. I know more for inclination and strength, so that people are stronger for it. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it is. And now with to come back to this Violet Saint-Germain, does it ring a bell to someone? The flame of Saint-Germain in France. Maybe for the ones who don't know, look it up. Very interesting. So I felt again an initiation since last Monday, and that is, it was an amazing feeling when I started to let enter that violet, and my core is of course freed. So I feel then the impact, like, whoa! It was an incredible feeling. Very, very, very special. So, yeah, I will pour myself a nice refreshed drink. I should not show that, I guess, in the video. Oh, wait. A bit of juice. Yeah, I'm really, really fulfilled. But I'm very happy, of course, that I managed to talk about it again, and about the whole deprogramming and what I dug up, and that I did go live. My feeling is now, I don't think I will make it for tonight, 12 o'clock. I'm very honest. That is, I want to announce it every time that people know, but then I come across, I am now, my energy is dropped. Oh, I will put it in the chat. Of course, I can type in the chat. No. Stay. I added it in the chat. Flame of Saint-Germain. Saint-Germain. I like the French language. Well, I think we're heading for the last minutes of this live stream. And I can, of course, look it up on Wiki, everyone. Hello on Trovo. Yeah, you all, that's why I love to also show the chat on Trovo. Maybe you can see that how many people drop in the space of Trovo. And also, wow, that's a lot. And welcome everyone on Trovo, as I said. What did I want to do? Oh yeah, I wanted to look up Saint-Germain. Saint-Germain. Doesn't that sound wonderful? That's why I love I love French. Now I see now here there's the first thing. What is the violet flame? Well, you can all read it. I will not read it out loud. But Saint is, of course, you know what it is. Sint, de heilige, saint. Saint-Germain. Saint-Germain. Yeah, you can all look it up. It's very interesting, but it is like everything what fits and resonates in you, take it with you, and what not. And that's the way it goes in the flow of life. What fits is resonating. That's how I live. There we go again with the incredible notification of all the best of Google, and Outlook is showing me the error. Oh. Nice violet, eh? Yeah, the beautiful color. And by the way, a lot of churches had violet. That's why this how do you call it? Glas en lood. I have to look that up. Glas en lood. Glas en lood. I'm really tired because I don't even know the word for glas en lood. Oh. I'm not showing that I know a lot of languages, for sure. Stained glass. I know that. Now I see it. Stained glass. And that creates that soft light, a specifically violet light that induces the connection to the Creator, to God, to the divine unconditional love. Yes, I try that way to give people to hold their own, and I also often try the spiritual side to see things coming ahead of time. Yeah, well, it's just, you have a beautiful radiance, Jos, and balanced radiance to me. So, Yvonne, my aura is also violet. Tineke Jessie, violet is a beautiful color. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I always loved violet, all colors of the rainbow. I love also rainbow, but then the softer colors, not the extreme, too bright, but nice, bit soft light, like actually the colors and the lighting and the background. Well, I will check if on Twitch if there is nice channel to rate. Oh, it's a long time ago. Fuck shells. It's a long time ago. I'm always looking for a new channel, but I'm now too tired, so. Liz Gay, they're also very sweet, very sweet, beautiful people. Tineke Jessie, the time flies again today. Yeah, Tineke Jessie. It's like, it's so nice that I see these things come by, like Yvonne the Timekeeper, you know, others show things like Time Flies of Tineke Jessie, and some others like Jos with Cappuccino and Going for a Smoke. That's so, yeah, that's so nice. It all fits, you know? And all your contributes to the live stream. But I'm really tired, so I will pick. Let's see. Jos, my aura it's yellow and my eyes are blue. Now I used to have light gray with brown in it, but my eyes are really blue now. Ah, yeah, I remember you talked about it. Yeah, I remember you talked about it earlier. Yeah, that does happen. Because the eyes are so incredible, resonating. The changes, the energy change. I think I like, yeah, I think you all will like also fug shells because that's a while ago. And then next time, Liz K, Yvonne, I really appreciate your suggestions, and I also follow always my feeling. And yeah, she's nice. She is. So you can write things in the chat. She makes a rap out of it, or she's maybe, yeah, chill rap stream. Oh, too quick for you, too fast. Yeah, I understand that. Maybe you can write that in the chat, Yvonne. Can you do a slow rap? That would be great. Wouldn't it? And before we go, and before I close this live stream, of course, thanks to Barry Henderson, the moderator, and yeah, thank you for everything what you do on Trovo. And so many people joined the channel and entered, so thank you so much, Barry, for everything, of course. And then it is not a another rap. Is that so? Yeah, exactly, Jos. That's what I meant. I know now that it is because of my spiritual powers. Exactly. And I can see it, eh? You maybe, and you understand what I mean. I can see you. So, with all the respect, always with respect. All right. Yeah, yeah. I hate it when I do these things like with rating. It's like I never ever type or don't know to command, and I do know that, but it's the tiredness. You see, now I put it in wrong. Huh? Oh. I I I cannot um ugh, come on. Oh, I hope I pronounce it well now. Yeah, indeed. Great, huh? So everyone, um, yeah, come along with me. I don't know what to say. Oh, my energy drop is incredible. Um, well, before I go, do some people still like to say something in the chat? Because I see it's a bit, nah, not even 10:30. I don't have to quit exactly at 10:30, of course, but yeah, Tinik, Jesse, and everyone, of course, have a nice remain of the week, and wish you all well. And yeah, see you soon. See you soon. And I'm tired. see. Uh, ugh. I did it wrong again. Oh, I feel ashamed. And what is, Yvonne, who is Slag for Forts? I will look it up. Slag, is that the name of a channel? Because I can look it up. So, people, dear people, you still don't have to go. I'm looking up Slag for Forts. Oh, here is again the pop-up. That's great. Ja, Alice, wel trust, hè. De raid lukt alsmaar niet. En ik voel me echt... wat is Slack? Slack Forwards. Wel trusten. Ja, lieve Alice. Tot de volgende keer. Teltje. Thank you, Monique, Tara Ray. Or what you want. Sleep well, everyone. Yeah. Monique, Tara Ray, yeah. Yeah, I know, Yvonne, turn it around. I know, but I was wondering what do you mean with Slack forwards? But I will. It's really the nah. I should not complain. I see you next time, everyone. For who goes for continuing your evening or for going asleep, but come along with me. It's always so mixed up. I give up. I give up. It's not working. What is that? I give up with rating. It's not working. or it is connected to something in my programming that it's just not working. Yeah, everyone, see you next time. And I will leave the raid. I can try another one. Yeah, I did. Uh, yeah. I will let go. I will see you next time, everyone. And I'm looking forward to when Dana is there as well, 1st of July. So look forward to it. And everyone, wish you a wonderful, great evening. And thanks again, Barry, for managing the channels and the treasure boxes. And yeah, it's amazing. So thank you so much. Shout out to the Rage channel. Did you see the Catamon before I leave? Yeah, Yvonne, I know. Eerst the streepje, then raid. I know. I did that. But you don't see the commands. But the name is not accurate. So, or she is already offline. So I let go. But thanks so much. I know it's meant well, but I know what I did wrong. So, and I did try it in the right way, but I will give up. I'm just going for a rest. Thank you so much, and see you next time. All right, bye bye, everyone. Sleep well. Have a good night. Bye. Or good evening for some. Good afternoon for some. Yeah, Yvonne, it's okay. Hey, Anja. Ja, thank you so much. Bye bye. Doei allemaal. Tot de volgende keer. Doeg.